From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, President Buhari meets representatives of train attack victims. Soldiers killed by terrorists in Abuja buried amid tears. House of Reps rejects CBN. FIRS representatives summon Emefiele Nami. Away from Nigeria, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un declares victory over COVID-19. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now the details. President Muhammadu Buhari has met with representatives of the victims of Abuja-Kaduna train attack. At a meeting which took place at the council chambers of the State House in Abuja, the president promised that his administration will ensure that each person held in captivity is returned home safely. Kehinde Amodu reports.
There is a lot of emotion invested in this very tragic situation. 31 victims remain in captivity, most probably because their families do not have the resources to pay the huge figures demanded as ransom.
Many of the victims have been out from the captivity, which they paid ransom of monies, which the remaining those in captivity doesn't have the ability and capacity to at least rescue their loved ones. So we don't know what to do because the money that are demanding, we doesn't have the money.
But this meeting between the president and victims' families is an attempt to demonstrate the determination of government to rescue them.
Today's audience, Your Excellency, is a manifestation of the efforts your administration has put in to secure the release of all those in captivity. Indeed, the fact that they have been invited to an audience with you this afternoon has proven to them that government is not resting on its oars towards securing the release of each and everyone that is still held in captivity.
Bringing the victims back alive is top on the priority list of the president. This is why government has not considered the military option to wipe out the terrorists.
It is understandable that emotions typically run high. We have received several suggestions about the employment of lethal military force in extracting those still being held in captivity. This option has indeed been considered and evaluated. However, the condition to guarantee a successful outcome and minimize potential collateral damage could not be assured, and therefore that course of action had to be reluctantly discarded.
The terrorists are applying guerrilla tactics by using those they abduct as human shields. This meeting clearly demonstrates the dilemma government is caught in. The abducted victims are not just numbers, and by meeting their families and putting a face to them, government is caught in an even greater quandary. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, over 40 gunmen riding on motorcycles attacked Yankatako quarters in Katsina metropolis on Tuesday night. The gunmen, suspected to be armed robbers, took about 15 minutes shooting sporadically to scare residents of Yankatako. Abdullahi Hamadi visited the area and has an update.
There are increasing attacks on residences within the last few days in the ancient city of Katsina. At Yankatako quarters, the gunmen forced themselves into the house of one Alhaji Bigi and dispossessed his family of their belongings, including his car. Alhaji Bigi, who was lucky to have scaled his house fence to escape attack, however, sustained various degrees of injuries in the process.
Bakin 'yan ta'adda da suka zo suka ci gaba da harbe-harbe ba kakkautawa.
The attacks are rampant such that one can hardly comprehend what it really is. Is it robbery, terrorism, or what? Truly, I can understand security operatives are overwhelmed. Something needs to be done. When Trust Television News contacted his family for comments, they said the survivor was barred from seeing journalists for security and health issues. Meanwhile, Ibrahim Kabir, one of the 3 survivors of the Shola Quarters attack, also in Katsina Metropolis, passed on at Federal Teaching Hospital, Katsina, Wednesday night. Kabir died from gunshot injuries he sustained during the Sunday's terrorist attack on Shola Quarters. The authorities are saying the increasing attacks on residences within the last few days in the ancient city of Katsina may not be the sign of change of modus of operandi by terrorists.
We must be telling the communities of security tips on the need to collaborate, on the need to come out and say things that you know. So many of us, we know so person was in the forest and he came back. We know so many of them, they are living above their means. How? Where do they get those money? How? Where? And we must ask, and what is happening?
Beyond the terrorist attacks and armed robbery cases, there is also an increase in motorcycles and car thefts within Katsina Metropolis. I'm a victim because my car was stolen just 6 days ago. There are more than 101 cases of car and motorcycle thefts on record in Katsina, especially in Katsina Metropolis. We're in trouble. The deteriorating insecurity is largely attributed to poverty, high cost of living, and proliferation of drugs and its abusers. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Troops of Guards Brigade Nigerian Army who were killed by terrorists in Buari area of Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, were on Thursday buried amid tears. The leader of the soldiers, Captain Atta Samuel, and 4 other soldiers who paid the supreme price during a clearance operation were buried at the Guards Brigade Cemetery, Maitama, Abuja. Reading the funeral oration of the deceased personnel, the commanding officers of 7 Guards Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Salim Yusuf Hassan, and commanding officer 176 Guards Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Kolawole Adisa, described the late captain and soldiers as thoroughbred infantrymen. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, who was represented by Major General James Alilu Ataguba, presented military paraphernalia to the next of kins of the deceased personnel, who, while the remains of the fallen heroes were lowered. Until their demise, the soldiers were serving with 7 Guards Battalion, Lungi Barracks, Maitama, and 176 Guards Battalion, Gwagwalada, in the FCT. Suspected ritualists have beheaded 37-year-old Anthony Egbo inside a Pentecostal church at Elebele community in Ogbe, local government area of Bayelsa State. Egbo was a security man attached to the church. Assistant pastor of the church discovered the mutilated corpse of the deceased. The youth president of Elebele community, Famous Egbo, confirmed that the corpse of the deceased was discovered on Wednesday. Police Public Relations Officer, Bayelsa State Police Command, Asinim Butswat, confirmed the incident. Justice Bayo Taiwo of the Oyo High Court sitting in Ibadan has convicted and sentenced 7 internet fraudsters to various jail terms. The convicts were jailed on August 8 and 9, 2022, according to the head media and publicity of EFCC, Wilson Owujare. The suspects were convicted after pleading guilty to a 1-count separate charge upon their arraignment by the Ibadan Zonal Command of the Commission. Other convicts were also ordered to restitute their victims and forfeit all items recovered from them to the federal government. The convicts' journey to the correctional center began when they were arrested by operatives of the Ibadan Zonal Command of the EFCC for internet-related offenses. The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Subsidy on Thursday rejected representations from the Central Bank of Nigeria and Federal Inland Revenue Service at the ongoing public hearing at the National Assembly in Abuja. The committee members insisted on the appearance of the two heads that they considered very critical to unravel the petroleum products subsidy in the ongoing investigation. Although both representatives tried to make a case for their various organizations, the committee insisted through a voice vote ruling that the heads of the organizations must appear in person. The Federal Inland Revenue Service boss, Muhammad Mamman Nami, is to appear on the 18th of August, while a date for the appearance of the Central Bank of Nigeria's Governor, Godwin Emefiele, is expected to be communicated to him soon.
Whatever you see here, for the honorable committee, binding on him, then we'll take it. So to get the letter and appear, or let the chairman appear with come with the chairman. You understand? So that in our presence, we don't even need any letter. He will physically assign whoever will carry forward. You understand? Will carry on where he stops.
With respect to the issues of document, the truth of the matter is that some of these documents are actually voluminous, and we cannot be able to print most of those documents. For example, in one of your requests, you ask us to produce all the accounts of NNPC that are domiciled in the Central Bank. NNPC has over close to 200 accounts, and they are voluminous account, and the age of the
chairman. So you are a personal staff of the chairman. Yeah, hold on. Somebody is doing your work now. Has that your position been scrapped? So why is that person that the government, okay, maybe you are still being paid by the government, maybe from his contingency. Yeah. So the person that was doing your job, unless the person is not competent to come here before the committee, but in any case, the chairman maybe is going to rule that the chairman of FRS must appear before us. So if he decides to come with you, no problem, but for you to come, and also no submissions. So what are you going to be telling? Are you going to be speaking from the top of your head? You must bring documents that you will speak to.
In a similar vein, the House of Representatives Committee on Subsidy, in its ongoing investigation to determine the subsidy payment from 2013 to date, has demanded more information from Hyde Energy Company. It says unless the country is able to determine these things, it will be difficult to determine how much the country spends on subsidy. The report.
Hyde Energy had earlier appeared before the committee to explain their involvement in the direct sale, direct purchase arrangement with NNPC. The committee then requested for the profile and all agreements reached with details of volume of PMS imported as well as struck out from all tank farms as at 2013 to date. This time around, the committee, in addition, wanted an explanation from Hyde Energy Company on funds paid to FIRS account, Shell Petroleum account, NPD NNPC account at the instance of the NNPC. These questions arose due to the explanation by Hyde Energy Company that it does not deal in cash transactions, but rather a swap.
For us, the mandate of this committee is to determine the effectiveness or otherwise of the whole subsidy regime, including the SDB arrangement. Is it tenable? At the end of the day, if you find that there are a lot of discrepancies and shortchanging, we recommend that everything should be put aside, then, and then we make progress. I'm not trying to preempt our report.
The committee was also interested in knowing why Hyde Energy made payment on OML/60/63 account when Duke Oil was the actual contractor for the said contract.
Duke Oil is a subsidiary of NNPC, no doubt about that. It's the trading arm, so to speak, of NNPC. So this crude oil is allocated to Duke Oil. And Duke Oil is getting you to trade it for gasoline.
I will give you one to look at after this. You identify those details for me, so you'll see why we want you to properly properly itemize them on a table for us. I'll give you one so you identify for me the vessel, the owner, the destination, and the date of the lifting, so that you'll see why I asked for it.
In his response, the representative of Hyde said pricing options in the DSDP arrangement is determined by the crude oil lifting as well as the quality of crude.
Who determines the value of crude and products? That is determined by NNPC in the contract that we signed. So if you look at the DSDP contract states what the value of the crude is specific months and what the value of the product that you are bringing in those specific months.
The committee has scheduled another hearing with Hyde Energy in 2 weeks' time, while the company is expected to explain how the company profits from the transactions, number of vessels and owners of vessels involved in crude oil lifting.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at Yobe Cattle Market 10 years after attack. Details of this and more after the break.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Here is a reminder of our top stories. President Buhari meets representatives of train attack victims. Soldiers killed by terrorists in Abuja buried amid tears. In other news, policy makers in the energy, oil and gas sector have been encouraged to create and implement strategies for the marginalized women group in the sector to thrive. The call was made during an advocacy and communication capacity building to ensure the challenges women in the sector face are addressed through a project advancing women in economic development. Here's the report.
Despite the invaluable contributions of the energy, oil and gas sector to the country's economy, experts say harnessing capacities of all parties involved is lacking. Hence, the need for deliberate inclusion of women in the sector to unlock the potentials therein.
Stimulate our women, the members of women in energy, oil and gas, to start thinking of possibilities, to start thinking of ways we can close the energy gaps, both the gender gap, the energy poverty gap, and the transformational effects of Nigeria hosting that vast resource of energy in the country. So it is not just a gender thing, it's a total, if I may use the word, reformation that cuts across the energy industry.
The industry, from leadership roles in major corporations to jobs in mines and on oil rigs, remains male-dominated, even with the invention of technology. This and more are some of the areas the advocacy and communication capacity building seeks to address in order to guarantee the economic empowerment of women.
Shortfall of the presence of women in the oil and gas sector across board in terms of leadership, even in terms of participation, in terms of access. Women presence has still not yet been felt 4 decades after the establishment of the oil find in Nigeria. So this group is very timely because they are dealing with issues related to environment, oil and gas mining, and how that affects women and also even the communities where these mining activities do take place.
Only a few women there occupy leadership position. Train these women for them to have better skills, because they have been doing something. But we want them to acquire better skills in order to be more proficient in advocacy.
Demystifying the myth that women would not succeed in the industry, stakeholders believe will help encourage others to go into the sector, as the exploits of women hold brighter prospects for the sector and invariably the economy. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Nigeria has not incurred any judgment debt in the last 7 years, but has secured over 1,000 convictions on matters bordering on terrorism. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, disclosed this on Thursday while speaking to newsmen at the State House in Abuja. Malami also shed more light on the contentious matter of deductions from the Paris Club refund, which put him up at odds with Nigerian governors. Kehinde Amodu reports.
Over 1.8 billion naira has so far been generated from sale of bid forms and actual sale of confiscated properties under the Buhari administration. An interministerial committee on the audit and recovery of back years of stamp duty has also recovered about 596.05 million naira so far. But some controversies have trailed activities in the Attorney General's office. For instance, investigations are ongoing into how some of the properties that have been forfeited to the state have been disposed of. It is a matter that the Attorney General chooses not to comment on.
As you rightly know, that subject is indeed a subject being investigated by the EFCC, and it is only natural that we should allow investigation to take its natural course. As the Chief Law Officer, I wouldn't like to be preemptive of any investigative process.
There are also allegations that despite a presidential directive to suspend deduction from the Paris Club refund, the directive has not been fully complied with. But the Attorney General traces the antecedents of the deductions.
So it was the Governors Forum and not the federal government in the first place that engaged the consultant. 2, when eventually successes were recorded associated with the refund associated with Paris Club, the governors collectively and individually presented a request to the federal government for refund. And among the components of the claim presented for the consideration of the federal government was a component relating to the payment of these consultants that are now constituting the subject of contention.
He further states that the controversy being generated is because there was a change in the leadership of the Governors Forum.
The new leadership of the Governors Forum instituted an action, fresh action, even when the federal government was indeed acting on the basis of the judgment of the Supreme Court. They now embark on a fresh legal suit, challenging the payment, challenging the previous agreement, challenging the indemnity, and the court dismissed their application.
The Attorney General is hard-hitting in this engagement, saying one of his greatest challenges on the job is how he has been portrayed by the media. His position mirrors the defensive stance of many officials of the Buhari administration, who see the media as a threat rather than a partner in development. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
Stakeholders in the health sector have urged the federal and state governments to improve health infrastructure and build capacity of health practitioners to provide quality healthcare service to citizens. They made the call at an event in Zamfara State where practitioners gathered to brainstorm on ways of improving access to better health care. According to them, the global COVID-19 pandemic, health emergencies and weak healthcare systems have posed greatest risk to Nigeria's health security and economy. Here's the report.
With terrorism, banditry and natural disasters identified as some of the major factors that are threatening health security and the economy in Nigeria, stakeholders say all hands need to be on deck to ensure healthcare services within the reach of every Nigerian. They harped on the need for policymakers to reposition the sector towards improving quality healthcare delivery to citizens and ensuring universal health coverage in the country.
Manpower delivery is one of his target priorities. During that period, he employed 15 consultants. Those are the specialists with special training in different capacities to increase the service delivery of Zamfara State. And at the same time, he employed 40 medical officers to add to the services of Zamfara State.
For the governor of Zamfara State, Bello Muhammad, represented by his deputy Senator Hassan Nasiha, collaborating with relevant stakeholders is important to ensuring improved healthcare service delivery to people of the state.
In our effort to transform the state for the better and improve the health and social well-being of our people, we recently launched a medical outreach program in 4 local government areas of the senatorial district, that is Taipei, Gusau, Kumbuda, and Maru, which will inshallah complete the remaining 10 local governments soonest by Gansema.
The chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association, Zamfara State Branch, Manir Baturi, called for commitment on the part of stakeholders to strengthen health systems in order for the country to make progress in the sector.
So why we choose this team is we look at what is happening globally. We look at the pandemics that affect the global community. We look at other health emergencies that are affecting most particularly African nations. And we also look at their impact on our daily lives. So we now come to understand that actually these key issues are posing a greatest risk to economy and of course to security. So we say it is high time that we sit down and deliberate and come out with ways that we can surmount these challenges so that we can have a healthy nation with economic prosperity.
Some stakeholders were recognized for their contributions to the health sector, including the Deputy Governor of the state, Senator Hassan Nasiha, and Senator Kabiru Marafa.
The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, has inaugurated the governing board of the Nigerian Shippers Council. The 7-man board was charged to foster a robust, transparent and accountable economy in line with international best practices. Chairman of the board is Lawal Abdullahi, while its members are Rufai Akombi, Hussein Udo, Otumba Oduntan, Violet Williams, Mohammed Kamsalem, and Emmanuel Jime, who is to serve as the executive secretary. The minister, who inaugurated the board in Abuja, according to a statement in Abuja on Thursday by the Director of Press and Public Relations of the ministry, Eric Ojekwe, disclosed that the council is in charge of providing a forum for the protection of the interest of shippers on matters affecting the shipment of imports and exports to and from Nigeria. The Nigeria Immigration Service has launched a new electronic enhanced passport, e-passport center in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital, to cater for applicants in Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa and Cross River State. Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, who launched the rollout, said that the e-passport office, which is equipped with latest technology in passport administration and issuance, will ease passport processing for citizens within the region. The report.
Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola said Nigeria's enhanced passport is the real deal in passport making, and adding that the service will make sure that the passports are available to Nigerians in South-South. According to Aregbesola, some unique features of the enhanced passport will include a biometric data page, letter engravings, notable letter image showing the date of birth, amongst other security features.
We are launching the enhanced passport and commissioning this production center to serve all the states in the South-South region except Edo and Delta. The document is of higher grade with additional security features than the one we commonly use now that we are gradually phasing out. It is polycarbonate in design and therefore water resistant. It cannot be compromised by counterfeiters and identity thieves. There is no shortage of passport booklets now. Let me once again sound a note of warning to the few officials of the Nigerian Immigration Service involved in corrupt acts and undermining reforms in passport administration, that the game is up.
River State Governor Nyesom Wike expressed delight that applicants for international passports would no longer need the service of third parties to obtain their passports. Represented by his deputy Ipalibo Hari Banigo, the governor thanked the Minister of Interior and his team for all their contributions towards national security and reforms in the immigration services. Earlier, the Comptroller General of Immigration, Issa Jere Idris, assured Nigerians of the determination of the service to enhance its service to Nigerians. Idris said passport applicants who intend to process their applications in any of these states are expected to process them via the immigration online portal.
We are here today to roll out the enhanced e-passport and commission the Central Passport Production Center in Port Harcourt. The enhanced passport facility we are rolling out here is one of such ongoing reform efforts to transform the entire port process and offer improved options to our citizens. With the rollout today, all up Akwa Ibom by Cross River State have been fully migrated to the enhanced e-passport platform.
The minister, Rauf Aregbesola, also approved 10,000 passport booklets for the South-South in order to clear the backlog. He said the passports come in 3 categories of 32 pages with a 5-year validity period, 64-page 5-year validity, and the 64-page 10-year validity for 18 years and above. He advised minors not to go for the 10-year validity booklet.
The chairman, Oyo State Pilgrims Welfare Board, Professor Saeed Malik, has assured the state intending pilgrims who missed the 2022 Hajj of the board's readiness to refund their fares. He revealed this while briefing journalists on the 2022 Hajj report in his office at Olodo, Ibadan. The chairman said that the board has commenced full payment to those who wish to take their money back, irrespective of initial cost deduction for their inoculation, clothes, bags, and some other charges. He also said that the board has embarked on another round of refund of unspent funds from the 2022 Hajj Fair to all pilgrims that went with the board for the Hajj exercise. Malik called on the pilgrims to visit the account section of the board along with their receipts to claim their funds. Now, 10 years after the deadly attack at the Pottiscombe International Cattle Market, dealers say that the market is yet to fully recover from the aftermath of the attack. The cattle market was brought to its knee in May 2012 after some gunmen armed with explosives attacked and killed dozens, including cattle. As they strive to rebuild their businesses, cattle dealers say that lack of infrastructure in the market is impeding their progress. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Located along Maiduguri Road in the city of Pottiscombe, the Pottiscombe International Cattle Market is one of the largest in West Africa. A section of the cattle dealers who spoke to Trust TV say, although the market is gradually taking shape, lack of an access road remains a major challenge to their business. Others blame the slow recovery on the fact that foreign customers no longer visit the market like they did prior to the attack.
matsalan da muke samuwa mashigan jama'a shi ke ba mu wahala.
The problem is lack of access roads. We have to stop trucks at the western roads and pay herders to bring the cattle here. If a cattle runs away, we pay more than 10,000 before they catch it because of the dilapidated roads.
Sai mun ba 'yan gainake sama da 10,000 a ji a kawo maka saniya a jawo maka ya hayo maka shi nan kuma matsalar rashin hanya ne.
The cattle market has recovered more and developed better than it was before. It is peaceful and you can't hear news of any incident. There is better security. If you observe, you will understand that our condition at the Pottiscombe cattle market is pathetic.
Other business owners decried the poor condition of the market.
I am affected because it is only when the visitors come that I will sell my drugs. The visitors are not coming anymore because of the poor condition.
Union leaders at the Pottiscombe International Cattle Market said poor infrastructure is discouraging foreign dealers from patronizing the market.
No intervention from either local or state government. The market is dilapidated. Our people pay tax. Vehicles and people can't access the market freely. This is the problem here. But this market is one of the largest in Africa.
My Pottiscombe, Alhaji Umar Bubaram speaks on the significance of the Pottiscombe International Cattle Market as he calls for support from governments at all levels.
The Pottiscombe Cattle Market is an international renowned cattle market in West Africa. People from Chad, people from Central African Republic, Cameroon, they sent herds of cattle the Pottiscombe cattle market. Therefore, it will be appreciated if the proposed international abattoir proposed for Pottiscombe an improvement of the ranch at the cattle market will be hastened so that the market community will be encouraged.
The Pottiscombe International Cattle Market operates twice a week because of its business potentials. If upgraded, it will help boost the revenue of Yobe State. Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Now, Kano State House of Assembly has assured that it will immediately pass the Local Government Autonomy Bill into law. At a two-day interactive session on Constitution Amendment, Speaker of the State Assembly, Hamisu Chideri said a committee has been set up to fast-track the process. Idris Jibrin reports that the event seeks to deliberate on the 5th Constitution alteration bills. The report.
These members of the Kano State House of Assembly are here to deliberate an overview of the 5th Constitution alteration bills, its rationale and implications for governance and the socio-economic development of Nigeria, particularly on local government autonomy bill.
As legislators, I wish to reiterate our commitment and resolve in taking the right decision while considering the alteration for concurrence with the National Assembly. In doing so, a committee was set up under the leadership of the Deputy Speaker with the mandate to study and report back to the Honorable House.
According to these lawmakers in Kano, they are to reflect on the 5th alteration bills with a view to deepening their understanding of the provisions of the bills, the underlying principles and purpose to effectively build consensus around the bills.
There are several agitations, especially on the areas of resource control, the police, state police, the issue of state electoral commissions, the local government autonomy, women participation in politics or in the governance, several issues. So really, I expect to be cleared regarding the autonomy of independence of legislatures.
Although Kano State is yet to be among the 8 states that so far passed the local government autonomy bill into law, but expert believes that the interactive session will help the lawmakers to take informed decisions during their considerations.
What we expect is, 1, the State House of Assembly will be autonomous in terms of finances and in terms of administration. 2, the local government autonomy will be rectified. Other provisions that are quite relevant, particularly that pertains the improvement in the welfare of citizens and strengthening good governance, I'm sure the Kano State House of Assembly, after this session, will pass for that bill.
At the end of this session, it is expected that the lawmakers in Kano will come up with resolutions toward achieving local government autonomy as contained in the 5th alteration bills. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
We'll now take a quick break. The news continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and this is the News Hour on Trust Television. We'll now take a look at some business updates put together by Chamon Dabeng.
Total borrowing by the federal government from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, increased from 17.46 trillion naira in December 2021 to 19.91 trillion naira in June 2022 through ways and means advances. The federal government borrowed 2.45 trillion naira from CBN in just 6 months, according to CBN data. The federal government owes the Apex Bank 19.91 trillion naira, which is separate from the country's overall public debt stock, which the Debt Management Office estimates to be 41.6 trillion naira as of March 2022. Only the debts owed by the federal government of Nigeria, the 36 state governments, and the Federal Capital Territory are included in the public debt stock. According to Section 38 of the CBN Act 2007, the Apex Bank may, at such rate of interest as the bank may set, issue temporary advances to the federal government with reference to a temporary revenue shortfall in the budget. Through the electronic money transfer levy, the federal government expects to generate 483.73 billion naira in revenue from the surge in electronic payments over the course of 3 years. In its medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper for 2023 to 2025, the Budget Office of the Federation produced this forecast. The Stamp Duty Act was modified by the Finance Act 2020 to include the EMTL in order to take advantage of the country's expanding use of electronic payments transfers. A single one-time fee of 50 naira is applied to any amount above 10,000 naira that is electronically received or transferred from any bank or financial institution that accepts deposits. The 3 layers of government split the money made through the EMTL. The country aims to make at least 137.03 billion naira in 2023, 157.59 billion naira in 2024, and 189.11 billion naira through EMTL, according to the Budget Office, which is under the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. The office also disclosed that in 2021, the fee brought in 111.84 billion naira for the government due to widespread use, expanded broadband availability, and enhanced payment gateway dependability. E-payment transactions have surged dramatically since the start of the pandemic. On Thursday, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, criticized the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, for opposing the 5% price rise for data calls. Ahmed expressed her viewpoint in a statement sent by her media advisor, Yunusa Abdullahi. The federal government had already announced plans to put into effect the new 5% call and data rate increase. Pantami had expressed his displeasure and promised to use all legal means at his disposal to halt the proposed 5% excise duty on telecom customers. In response to Pantami's remarks, Ahmed stated that since the policy was approved by the Federal Executive Council, of which he is a member, the Communications Minister cannot claim ignorance about the plan to implement a 5% hike on data calls. She added that in addition to the Federal Executive Council, a circular was sent to all interested parties and that the National Assembly approved the budget law, the legal basis for the increase. That's all for Business News. I am Chamon Dabeng.
And away from Nigeria, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has declared victory in the battle against the novel coronavirus and ordered a lifting of maximum anti-epidemic measures imposed in May, state media said on Thursday. North Korea has not revealed how many confirmed infections of the virus it has found, but since July 29, it has reported no new suspected cases, with what international aid organizations say are limited testing capabilities. While lifting the maximum anti-pandemic measures, Kim said that North Korea must maintain a still strong anti-epidemic barrier and intensify anti-epidemic work until the end of the global health crisis. North Korea's official death rate of 74 people is an unprecedented miracle compared to other countries, KCNA reported, citing another official. The World Health Organization has cast doubts on North Korea's claims, saying last month it believed the situation was getting worse. not better, amid an absence of independent data. Satellite pictures released on Thursday showed devastation at a Russian airbase in Crimea, hit in an attack that suggested Kyiv may have obtained new long-range strike capability with the potential to change the course of the war. Pictures released by independent satellite firm Planet Labs showed 3 near-identical craters where buildings at Russia's Saki airbase had been struck with apparent precision. Russia had denied aircraft were damaged and said explosions seen at the base on Tuesday were accidental. Ukraine has not publicly claimed responsibility for the attack or said exactly how it was carried out. Suspected rebels have attacked an Indian army post in the Indian-administered Kashmir, killing 3 soldiers, while 2 attackers died in the shootout. The attack came amid heightened security in the run-up to India's Independence Day celebrations. It took place in the remote Darhal area of southern Rajouri district of India's only Muslim-majority region in the early hours on Thursday. At least 2 assailants armed with guns and grenades attacked the camp, said Mukesh Sai, a senior police officer, adding that the soldiers responded to the attack, triggering a gun battle that lasted for at least 3. And in sports news, Harvey Elliott has signed a new long-term contract with Liverpool, which ties the midfielder to the club until 2027. The 19-year-old only signed a new deal last year, and his latest contract is a reward for his continuing development. Elliott, who can play as a midfielder or winger, missed a large part of the 2021-2022 season due to injury. Elliott has been capped 3 times for England at under-21 level, but is yet to receive a call-up to the senior team. He progressed through Fulham's academy before signing for Liverpool in 2019. Still on sports, Manchester City have agreed a fee of €13 million plus add-ons with Anderlecht for Spain under-21's defender Sergio Gomez. City were looking at left-sided options after failing to complete a deal for Britain's Marc Cucurella, who joined Chelsea last week for £62.5 million. If not promoted to the first team squad, Gomez could be loaned to City Football Group club Girona in Spain. He came through the Barcelona academy before joining Borussia Dortmund, and Gomez, 21, then spent 2 years on loan at Huesca in 2019 before joining Anderlecht, where he played under former City captain Vincent Kompany. We'll now take some more updates as put together by Adeni Ajishafe.
African Soccer Ruling Body CAF has intensified its readiness for 2022-2023 inter-club competitions to kick off in September. To this end, it has notified member associations participating clubs to present venues to play their home game. CAF has also put August 28th as the deadline for the participating teams to respond. Rivers United and Plateau United will represent Nigeria in the Champions League, while Remo Stars and Kwara United will play in the Confederations Cup. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce powered to a blistering 10.62 seconds to win the women's 100-meter race at Monaco Diamond League, the fastest time in the world in 2022, becoming the first woman in history to break 10.70 seconds 6 times in the same season. Her compatriot Sherika Jackson came second in a personal best of 10.71 seconds, while Marie-José Talou of Côte d'Ivoire ran African record of 10.72 seconds. Fraser-Pryce broke Maria Jones' meeting record of 10.72 seconds set in 1998 and has now clocked 10.67, 10.66 and 10.62 in a week. Meanwhile, world champion Noah Lyles of United States of America improved on his own meeting record, clocking 19.46 seconds plus 0.8 to win men's 200 meters. It was a USA 1-2-3 finish as Eriong 19 ran 19.84 seconds for second place ahead of Michael Norman, who clocked 19.95 seconds. Lyles' time is the 9th fastest of all time for men in 200 meters. And in football, Nigeria under-20 women team, the Falconers, are ready to face France in Group C at the 2022 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Costa Rica. France coach Sonia Haziraj has confessed that they are aware of Nigerian strength as the nations face off in the 2022 FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Despite beating Ghana 4-0 in a warm-up game, Sonia believes Falconers are a formidable side. Nigeria versus France will come out by Thursday, 12 midnight. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And that's a wrap on the News Hour. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also watch live on YouTube channel by subscribing. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.